we're talking about the announcement regarding debates coming up for the federal election. October 7th, October 10th, I believe, are the dates. One will be in English, one will be in French. So for most people, there will be one debate, and then maybe you'll have to read about the other one. If you're unilingual in French, then you're going to have to read in one of the papers from Montreal or something what happened on the English-speaking debate and vice versa. But that's what's going to happen. And then, of course, who's involved and who isn't involved. And Maxime Bernier, who got miffed when he wasn't picked as leader of the Conservatives, Andrew Scheer was the winner, went off and stomped and took his political football with him and said, I'll start my own party. And so he did. And he apparently is not going to be a part of the debates. You have to have had 4% of the vote in the previous election. You have to have somebody elected in the House, or a couple of people or something. There are and running candidates in 90% of the ridings. And he doesn't qualify. For the life of me, I don't know how the Bloc Québécois qualify under those considerations, because they don't factor outside the province. They're certainly not in 90% of the ridings. So that'll probably continue to get fought out, and who knows, maybe he'll appear in the debates. But I said it was a waste of time putting him in the debates. He doesn't qualify, neither does the Bloc Québécois, and we don't need to hear from any of them. Now, one of the people who is going to run for the PPC, that's Maxime Bernier's new Conservative Party, is Deborah McKenzie. She is going to run in Beaches, East York, and she took exception on Twitter yesterday to my comments and joins me now. Deborah McKenzie, good morning.
Good morning, Jerry.
Your first comment was you thought that I understood democracy better, and my response to you was democracy doesn't involve every Canadian getting to be in the debate.
Yes, of course it doesn't involve that, but I was surprised based on previous things that you said that you were in favor of a politically influenced bureaucratic body preventing Canadian voters from hearing the policies of what is the fastest growing political party in Canadian history. So it's not that every Canadian, all 38 million of us, should speak in a debate. That's impossible. But the leaders that represent good portions of those Canadians should be heard.
Okay, so if the Pastafarians managed to get a bunch of candidates together, just because a lot of people would think it would be funny, and with the advent of social media, that would be easier to do now than it used to be, would we have to have the lead Pastafarian in the debate?
Well, I guess I could qualify it and say there should be some degree of reasonable numbers being represented. And the People's Party of Canada, a lot of people make these comparisons to these fringe parties, and it's a bit disingenuous because right out of the bat, the People's Party of Canada had a huge following. So we're not comparable. We are making an impact on the political scene. We are the fastest growing party. We have 40,000 members. The Green Party only has 18,000 members. So by your, if you're just basing it on numbers, we should definitely have a seat. We should have Elizabeth May's seat, based on, if it's just being based on numbers.
Yeah, well, to some great degree, it's a waste of time having her at the debate as well. I mean, there's no way they're going to form government. And how many of the ridings do you have a candidate in now for the PPC?
We have candidates in 310 of the 338 ridings.
So what's that as a percentage? You're getting close to 90, I guess.
I think it's more than 90.
More than 90?
90. It's at least 91, if not 92 or 93.
Okay.
I don't have my calculator out at the moment. It's too early to do math in my head.
Do you think it's unfair to say that because one of the qualifications was 4% of the vote in the previous election. Now, your party didn't exist, but I don't know that necessarily because somebody all of a sudden jumps up and says, I have a new political party, they suddenly have to be taken as seriously as the Liberals, the Conservatives, and the NDP.
Well, I once took a course, statistics for surveys, and so I know that it's just like opinion polls are statistics.
No. We're not. Wait a minute. I'm not talking about an opinion poll. I'm talking about the actual vote in the last election.
The actual vote. Well, if you weren't in the last election, but so we weren't in the last election. The new election hasn't been called yet. So how can we determine how many people will vote for us? They base it on public opinion polls. And public opinion polls can be greatly manipulated. It depends on the sample population you use, on the questions you ask, and that sort of thing. And if you look at the last election, 2 months out, I mean, a lot can happen in 2 months. And 2 months out from the election last time, the Liberals were in third place.
Yes, but the
So
Greens,
I don't think
okay,
we
but
can go for that.
wait a minute. Yes, but the winner was, and always has been, one of the major two parties. In fact, even the NDP can't win the thing nationally, but at least they get enough membership that you have to take them seriously as a party, and they do win provincially from time to time. They've done it here in Ontario, but all the other parties are just kind of running around on the outskirts going, look at us, look at us.
Well, that's a function of the first past the post system that I believe Justin Trudeau was going to fix. That's why you said it.
Well, the fact that he lied to you is not a surprise. But Deborah, but I'm talking to Deborah McKenzie. She's the PPC candidate for Beaches East York in the upcoming federal election. The thing is, you can run. Anybody can run. You can form a party and you can run. And I think it would be a great accomplishment if you were able to run enough people to get more than 4% of the vote nationally in this upcoming election, and then you can build from there.
Well, I mean, if you look at what happened in 2008, I mean, Elizabeth May was unelected. There were no Green members of Parliament, and yet in 2008, Elizabeth May was allowed to be part of the leaders' debate, and the PPC is in a stronger position now than the Green Party was in 2008. So if she was allowed to be a part of the debate in 2008 with no elected members, and I don't know what her polling numbers were back then, but I can't imagine they were that high, then we definitely deserve to be, Maxime Bernier definitely deserves to have a seat at the debate.
Do you have any chance at all in Beaches East York? I think the Liberals have a pretty strong hold there.
Yeah, it usually goes back and forth between Liberals and NDP, but I think, myself and our party, we owe it to those voters in the Beaches East York who don't see themselves reflected in either of those parties and who are crying out for a new voice, a new party. I mean, one of the amazing things about the PPC is that we are attracting people, voters, who have never taken any interest in politics. Some people have never even voted in federal elections.
I'm out of time here, but I think if the hardcore conservative party like the CPP, or the PPC, can attract people in Beaches East York, I'll fall over. But good luck to you, Deborah McKenzie. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Jerry.